Chief Guest, Mr. Bhaskar Regular, Chairman Professor D.D. Mishra, Ms. Anuka Kumar, Mr. Arora, Mr. Retolia, Professor Uday Banu, Professor Chiranjeev Kumar, my two immediate predecessors, Professor Panigrahi, Professor Kumar, our alumni friends, faculty colleagues, staff, students, and members of the press. I must make a confession. Although ISM is in my blood, but I don't have an intimate knowledge about the history of ISM, and I leave Professor D.D. Mishra to accomplish that task. He has had a very distinguished presence at IIT ISM Dhanbad. And I might also add, it's such a small world. I was just talking to Mr. Ragula, and it turned out while I was doing my PhD and postdoc at Berkeley, he was offered a faculty position in the same department. And there's one thing more in common with him. Like students, both of us were feverishly looking at the note so that we don't forget any important points. The only difference is my notes were typed, his notes were handwritten. So I'll just briefly talk about the vision of IIT ISM Dhanbad and the direction in which we want to take ISM. The anchor said a few words, I will definitely exceed it. And being a professor, that's my birthright. So, what is the underlying basis for our vision? Obviously, now that we have become an IIT, our effort has to be counted to be among the top echelons of IITs. And since the benchmarks now is global, what we aim to is break the top 200 of QS rankings, hopefully in the next 5 to 7 years. How do we do it? So I will briefly focus on how we are planning to modify the academic curriculum and the research philosophy to take us in the desired direction. Apart from that, I would also like to enlighten you about some of our other initiatives. There is a big step change between a professor and a director. Before, on March 25th, I was a professor at IIT Kanpur. On March 26, 2018, I was a director. I never realized that the change would simply be phenomenal. From a Me Too, in the right sense, from a Me Too outlook, the outlook becomes a little more global. Now, when I talked with companies, senior officials of companies from, let's say, GAIL and ONGC, etc., what struck me was that they said core competence is important. But it is also important that students know other aspects of business, such as finance, such as risk management, and more lately, artificial intelligence. So what we have tried to do is steer our academic curriculum in a way so that I would say produce students with all-round core competence. How do we do that? So some of the initiatives that we have taken, it has been approved by our academic senate. We're introducing double major, which means a student gets admitted in the 4-year program, spends 1 year extra, gets a second major or literally a second BTech degree. So you can have a student graduating with a major in mining and a second major in computer science. And now, the second aspect we have said is we have introduced a compulsory course on economics and finance in the first year. Now, it won't be the traditional economics course on macro and micro and all the theories, no. It would be a more hands-on course, the type of economics and finance which is useful for the industry. Because as I realized, as professors, we just talk about technology, 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 science, science, science. And we are often disappointed that, we have developed something, such a great thing. Why isn't the industry coming forward to implement it? And in that sense, and the reason is that we always forget the importance of costs, the importance of finance. And so this economics and finance course will pertain more to, have a more of an industry outlook. So you understand a little bit of balance sheets, you understand a little bit about return of investments, etc. The other thing that has taken place over the years, there has been, implosions. All the departments have imploded in the sense that a number of important sub-disciplines have come in. Take any department. So we have to shed the old philosophy that we want to teach everything to the student. No. What we need to do is, in the compulsory courses, give the fundamentals that covers the spectrum of that particular department, and then open space for electives from the department so that a student can specialize in different areas of the department, and open electives where they can go outside and get that so important multidisciplinary expertise. Another thing I learned in the last few days is importance of technical software training. What I came to know that a number of industries, and I'm focusing more on mining and petroleum right now, is the importance of software, technical software in planning and operation activities in mining and petroleum. And there is a great need of expertise, and for the UG students, this is something we will push for. So for example, we have software given to us by Schlumberger. We are planning to have an ISM ANSYS center for CFD calculations, and then obviously, as you would hear, a center, IBM ISM Center for Emerging Technologies focusing on artificial intelligence. What about PG, the MTech, MSc and 3-year MSc Tech? The first major change is we're going to move more towards a thesis mode rather than a project mode. But there is one good aspect of IIT ISM I've found that is missing in many IITs, is the great industry connect that we have. So what we have proposed in the new curriculum, which has been approved by the Senate, is that there would be provision for up to 7 months of industry and research internship dedicated towards the thesis work of each student. In addition, we have also introduced the concepts of open electives and department electives as in the UG program, in the master's program. The PhD program has been made more rigorous. Every student who enters has to do 10 courses, and the minimum duration has been increased to 4 years. The other thing that we have done, which has not been done by any other IIT, that we have put in place a more rigorous selection of PhD examiners. We have said for Indian examiners, at least 5 out of 8, 4 to 5 should be from IITs and ISCs. And for the foreign examiners, they have to come from the top 200 QS ranked institutions or QS ranked departments. Now, there is a cutthroat competition for good students. So it is important, and especially PG students here, now that we are focusing more on research, we need really good students. And a student natural option would be, apart from our traditional strengths like mining and petroleum, would be gravitate towards the older IITs. So we've made some changes, and I would like to thank Professor Mitra, of the head of ECE, for showing the direction here. When I first came, they started, so the idea is to start specialized MTech programs, MTech MSc Tech programs. So for example, instead of the generic Masters in Electronics and Communication Engineering, what we have introduced from last year is an MTech in VLSI design, MTech in Optoelectronics and Optical Communications and Signal Processing, and final MTech on RF and Microwave Engineering. The other programs are works in progress, and some examples are, hopefully from 2019-20 academic year, we are going to offer a program on sustainable mining. And it would be an interdisciplinary program which would start from environmental and social impact assessments, how to use those concepts while designing, planning and operating a mine. You have elements of earth sciences here, and finally you have elements of mineral engineering so that you can do some waste processing. Then in chemistry, we are planning to introduce a 3-year MSc Tech program in pharmaceutical chemistry. That's a hot area. The Applied Mathematics Department is planning to introduce a master's program in data analytics and statistics apart from its regular master's program. And in MBA, we hope to start a specialization in energy resource management, which is a natural fit for this institute. Now, there is a challenge for us in ISM. One, a lot of new areas are coming in. We don't have enough faculty expertise in those new areas. But obviously, as students, have to be well versed with it. And this is where we are exploring how do we integrate online learning programs like EDX run by Stanford and Coursera by MIT and Harvard. How do we plan, how do we integrate those courses in our academic program? And later on, obviously, what we will do is we will also, since at least in mining and petroleum, we are the tops. So we would also participate in delivering lectures in these online programs. And the committee is looking into it, and hopefully we'll start something from summer. And in fact, what we are also planning to do in summer semester normally is used as a semester where students who have not done well in their course get a chance to recoup their grades. But I think summer has a lot of exciting possibilities. Apart from the online programs we were talking about in technology, what about history? What about law? We can get people from law, we can get people from history, we can get people from political science. And this would increase the all-rounded capability of our students, and more important, especially in the first, second year when students are too raw for internship. 3 months is a long time to spend at home. I'm sure the parents won't agree with me, but I'm sure the students would love this idea. Next comes research. Now, again, what is the underlying assumption? And clearly, if you look around in every area, doesn't matter whether it is metallurgy, whether it is mining, whether it is petroleum, whether it is electronics, solar, space, whatever, we are 10 to 15 years behind in terms of technology prowess compared to the West. So I think all IITs have a responsibility to ensure to play their role so that India is counted among one of the global technology leaders in the next 10 years. How do we do it? And obviously, we need to have a radically different approach. It can't be an incremental approach. The incremental is normally a catch-up approach. So what we need to do is we have to anticipate technology direction and start R&D now, so that 10 years from now, when the process commercialize, we are ready with our technology offering. This also means that we only think of technology, but we have to think holistically, especially in our strong areas of mining, petroleum and earth sciences. We have to think of becoming a think tank. So when the government looks for new technology, when the government looks for policy and regulation, they should approach ISM, and a committee is actually trying to make a roadmap for at least the mining department becoming a global technology think tank. How do we go ahead? As I said in cricket, you press for the home field advantage. If you are in India, you make spinning pitches. If you are in England, you make swinging pitches. So what we hope to do is to have a hub and spoke model. What would be the hub? The hub would be our niche: mining, petroleum and earth sciences. And initially, till all the other new departments achieve a level of maturity, all of them, at least 50% of their work would be towards application related to our hub disciplines. And in fact, we are already doing so in a certain way. So for example, we have a project on coal bed methane, coal to chemical. Another big area which we are getting into is enhanced oil extraction. I mean, what I understand is when you do the oil recovery, you get only 60% of the oil. 40% requires a little more effort, not only physically, but scientifically and technologically. And then we have the virtual reality project in mining safety. Now, what we are aiming to do is, the other thing I have found out was when we were making a presentation to Mahindra Research Valley, the other thing we found out was that we have very talented faculty, but working in their individual silos. So there is a need to synergize their capabilities by bringing them on a common platform so that we can say, okay, come up with a product. This product was developed at ISM. And one of our cherished centers would be CEER. We'll, I think, get an acronym. We'll say C3R. C3ER, this is the Center for Earth, Energy and Environment Research. Right. And what we plan to do, this is an overarching center for developing futuristic and disruptive technologies for subsurface energy extraction. We are not going to fall in the solar trap, solar or wind trap. Our expertise is subsurface energy, and this is where, and subsurface energy, despite whatever people say, is here to stay for a long, long, long time. We are the best institute in it, and we have to really increase the gap with the second best institution. And the other big thing that has often been neglected is the energy environmental interconnection. Say, everybody knows about open cast mining, everybody knows what havoc was caused by iron ore, indiscriminate iron ore mining in Bellary, etc. So energy, environment, and more importantly, the energy-water nexus would be actively explored. Then we have plans for a center for geospatial technology, and one of our objectives here would be to map the water and mineral resources of Jharkhand. This is what we plan to start off with. And the third you will hear more about is the IBM ISM Center for Emerging Technologies. And here we will initially focus more on solutions for the mining and petroleum industry. Now from science, let us move to the students. Now one distinctive feature of ISM is the high student density. In Kanpur we have 1100 acres and 6500 students. Here we have about roughly 200 acres and 7,300 students. And often students living in cramped rooms because our hostel faculty facilities are still not adequate. We are building a 2,000-seater hostel, so after next year things would increase. But the important thing is you have to draw students out of the room. You don't want after a hard day of classes, they go back to their mobiles. They need some clean, fresh air and some entertainment. So what we have done is, we have increased funding substantially for all the clubs. And I must say, our dramatics club can be counted among the best in the country. our dramatics club. Then there is a very interesting club called Chainika Sangh, Hindi poetry and shairi. Superb. I mean, you have to listen to believe them. Then we are going to also increase things like electronics workshops where students, electronics and software workshops where students can fiddle and make apps, or it can help them in incubation. We have also hired about 14-15 coaches in all disciplines, so we want students to be engaged. We will be creating a new sports plaza because right now the sports facilities are not adequate. And the other thing that I see in all major American universities, they have a plaza which is the center of activity. In Berkeley we had this Prowl Plaza. Activity and a lot of food courts around it. We are planning to do that near the new library. So that will be the activity center. Between 6 to 8:30 the place would be cordoned off, and we'll have programs like something akin to, for example, initial thoughts, Indian Idol, dumb charades, all that competition, and we are having a food plaza within the library, and we'll also have a Thela park there. See, if you see students, many of them step outside the campus and there are a series of Thelas selling momos, selling sandwiches, selling parathas, selling doshas. We've already started that in the campus because we want students to stay in the campus, enjoy the clean air and eat hygienic food. Now, one of the problems we have is because of our locational disadvantages, faculty hiring. And so what we have done is, we have created the position of visiting assistant professor. So the moment we spot a new person just finished his PhD, has a lot of potential, would have more than 95% chance of getting into IIT through a regular selection process, we immediately grab them and give in a visiting assistant professor position. But the other major challenge for Dhanbad is how do we increase spousal opportunities. So we are interacting with schools. There is a university here, but most of all, what we are looking at is how we can improve spousal opportunities through our administration and through our projects. So this is something we are looking at. Then comes a very important aspect of IIT ISM is our relationship with our alumni. Mr. Arora and Mr. Pretoli are on the stage. And the first thing, and that idea came from Ms. Anuka Kumar, is IITs have to play a role in the skill upgradation of our alumni, and we have two wonderful industry interaction facilitation centers in Kolkata and Delhi. What we are planning is starting maybe 1 year programs on very specialized topics or specialized workshops. This is what we plan to do, and it would be nice if we can get inputs from our alumni. Now, the other important aspect is that the government support for infrastructure building is reducing day by day, and they expect our alumni to play a major role in institute building. So I remember when I was in Berkeley, they had to build and make a new life sciences building and new lab. So what the chancellor did is he went on a tour to different continents, Asia, Europe, other parts of America, getting donations from their alumni. And with their help, they were able to build a throbbing life sciences building, and more importantly, a department. And this is a very common way. If you go to all the big institutes like Harvard, Stanford, MIT, the alumni play a very major role, not only in building infrastructure, but giving their inputs on curriculum, industry connect, etc. And we are working feverishly on this. Very soon you will see a new website, and we are having a dedicated website for alumni affairs. I think my Dean Alumni's team has done a wonderful job in collating the contact details of about 8,000 alumni, and we'll keep on adding to it. And very soon we'll be coming up with a document which enumerates the ways in which alumni can help the institute. Now, one of the institution I'm very proud of, and again a very distinctive feature of IIT ISM Dhanbad, is the Center for Societal Mission. This projects the human face of our institute, the human face of our students, the human face of our faculty and staff. They have adopted 5 villages, and there is a continuous teaching program. Our JRF students, our PhD students also give coaching for the joint entrance exams. They also have drives, blood donation drives, and I must say we have a Padman group also, which helps in creating awareness and distributing sanitary pads among the lower strata of people. Very proud of this group. And this group will also be undertaking the task of skill enhancement of people around IIT ISM Dhanbad. So for example, they have started off with computer awareness courses for underprivileged students living around ISM Dhanbad. We will be expanding it soon to have 3-month certificate programs in areas which generates jobs. For example, database management, for example, networking, etc. So that will soon be in the anvil. Now, the other thing that we have been doing quite well is mentoring. So under the TechWip program, we are mentoring BIT Sindri. We have started off by admitting about 25-30 of their students in our PhD programs. Our faculty go there and give workshops and classes, and we are also helping them to improve and make their administrative structure more vibrant. And another idea that came to my mind was 2 days back, I had gone to a nearby Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, where the CSE department had offered a 5-day training course on Python programming to all teachers from the Patna division, which comprises the states of Navodaya Vidyalayas from Bihar, Jharkhand and West Bengal. And we hope to extend this to other neighboring schools. And finally, there is one thing that makes my heart swell with pride. One of our students, Aditya Kumar, and we found out was suffering from leukemia. And we were told that we need about more than 20 lakh rupees for his treatment. And this fund collection drive was initiated by our Dean IRA, Professor Dheeraj Kumar. And the alumni responded superbly. Thank you, sir. Probably you can say thanks to them on our behalf. As to date, we have collected about 23 lakh rupees. So, in short, we are in for an exciting ride. It will be like a ride on an Indian highway. You can go at great speeds, but unknowingly, suddenly there will be a pothole, there will be a bump, or suddenly a cattle will cross the street. तो वो तो हमें negotiate करना है. But I'm sure with the active support of our alumni, faculty, staff and students, we will make sure that IIT ISM scales great heights. Thank you very much.